And we are back for another episode of Zaddy Ball. Before this show today, we were talking about basically being a dad, Jay and I. And hence the name of the episode, Zaddy Ball. And Jay made a great reference on our fatherhood since we both have amazing partners, the mother of our children. So go ahead and elaborate what we were just talking about, Jay.
So basically, as I'm trying to scramble to get on here, I'm trying to make sure Averly has her food. We left from the pool, which is in our complex. That's not a flex. It's really just simple to do that, but it's hard to get Averly out of the pool to do that. So we get up here. I'm trying to do that. We're trying to scramble to get on here, and you start to realize that you're just a complementary piece to the puzzle, and I might be the Jimmy Garoppolo of fathers. If you guys follow me on Instagram, last night I posted a heartfelt photo of my daughter and I going to the Yankee game, but her mother is the engine that drives the bus, and I'm just along for the ride. So if it looks like I'm a good dad, that's because of Instagram. But I would say that I am the Jimmy Garoppolo of dads, and I am just more along for the ride, and there's more driving that than myself.
I love that so much because I think it resembles myself as a father. We have a 7-month-old, and he still wakes up through the night because he's hungry. I don't blame him. I get hungry too. It is what it is. I kind of just roll over, pour the water in, pour the formula, give the bottle to my wife, and then she's the one staying up feeding him, and I knock out, and so she probably does that like 2 times a night. So I'm the Jimmy Garoppolo in that way too. Like I handed her the ball, and yet she went ahead and Raheem Mostert that thing in the NFC Championship game every single night. But that handoff's important. Like Raheem Mostert does not get the ball and run wild if Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't hand it off. So,
And also,
Steph,
I do want to attribute the fact that I'm handsome as hell, and that helps a lot, man. It really does. Steph, what's up, bro? Like, let's talk. Let's say, Steph, what's going on with you? Steph?
Hey, as I'm hearing all this, I'm just
come on, cat mom.
you
Cat
guys
mom.
better step it up before you get traded. That's all I'm saying.
Well, so what you mean to say is my wife is about to trade 3 ones to get my replacement.
Yeah, she's
the writing's on the right. So wait, the writing's on the wall for myself.
She's I hope that guy in this situation.
I hope that guy does. I hope that guy doesn't get fatigued, man. That's all I'm worried about. Whoever is about to replace him.
All right, we just leave it at that. We're talking about relationships, fatigue, and we'll just cut it off right there. Let's talk about 49ers football. Steph, how you doing?
I'm all right, man. I'm just dragging on as we get closer to the season. I just can't wait. I see all these little arguments happen on Twitter. I'm just over it. Yeah, that's about it.
I'll tell you what. Sometimes we do this show on Monday. Sometimes it's Tuesday. Sometimes it's Wednesday. Sometimes it's Thursday. It's Friday. Fuck it. Beer.
Oh, let's go, my boy. Look at you, man. And look at your time. It's 3:37 on the West Coast too, man. Facts. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, but it's 6:30 where I'm at. So there you go.
Facts. Hey, you know what? Last night was a long night. Leo had us up quite a bit, so
poor baby.
I deserve this beer. He deserves one once he turns 21. So I don't want to bear the lead much longer here. Trey Lance, Steph brought it up. So shout out to Steph on this one. She's like, yo, I'm seeing on social media stat predictions for Trey, what his numbers are going to look like. And I feel like that's something we probably haven't talked about very much. We talked about his arm fatigue, it's his job. It's not Jimmy's job. It's, he's going to be fine. All he has to do is be Jimmy Garoppolo or a little elevated than Jimmy Garoppolo. He doesn't need to be Josh Allen. He doesn't need to be Patrick Mahomes. We've had that conversation plenty of times here. And I was like, yo, I don't want to talk about arm fatigue. I feel like I'm talking to a wall at this point. So let's talk about it. Stat projections and, Steph, since it was your question, how about you go first? And let's talk about let's talk about this. Let's talk about completion percentage. That's something you could throw a projection on. Let's talk about yards, total yards, yards per game, however you want to break that down. Let's talk about touchdowns, interceptions, TD to INT ratio, quarterback, say passer rating. I don't really give a damn about because I don't think that defines a quarterback. We've seen Jimmy Garoppolo a 98 career quarterback rating. Yeah, 95 probably would have been MVP of the league, but in this dawn and era, it's kind of just average, if you will. So let's go ahead and get into it, baby. Stat projections. Trey Lance.
All right. Well, I was gonna do the over and under thing, and then I can give like my specific, like what I think.
Okay, that's fine. However you want to do it. All
right. Let's see. So, okay, so passing yards, I have like 3,800, and I have them at over that, but like not by too much. Like I would say probably anywhere between 3,900 and 4,100. For perspective, Garoppolo had 3,810 last year. Mac Jones had 3,800. So I would put him at a little bit over those guys. Do we want to go like stat and then pass it, or like you want me to give all mine and then pass it?
However you want to pass it over to, no pun intended. However you want to pass it over to Jay, that's up to you on how you want to break down his projections on the year, whether it's over or under, whether it's like, I think it's going to be in this ballpark. However you want to do it.
Yeah. Okay. I'll go rushing yards. So I'm gonna say like 500 yards, and I think he goes over that. So I would say anywhere between like 500 and 600, because like, yeah, he ran a lot last season, or like in that one game he ran 16 times, but I don't think they're gonna want him to, go crazy with it, and I don't think they're gonna have as many like run packages. So I think it'll be mostly like scrambling, things like that, getting, some extra yards here and there. So I put him at between 500 and 600. Then total touchdowns, I have it at like 21.5, and I said over. So I would say like 23, 24 maybe for that. And interceptions, I said over 9.5. I would say like 11. Let's go with that on interceptions. What was the other one you said, Leo? Percentage?
Like completion percentage.
Completion percentage. I would say over 65%. I think that's pretty reasonable, I think.
Okay, so let me go ahead and go over some of the comments here. We have our guy Joey. He said, I got 3,900 passing, 400 rushing, 25 passing TDs, 5 rushing TDs, and a total of 14 interceptions. I think that's very fair. Scott Davidson said 4,100 yards, 27 touchdowns, Niner by nature, 88. I think he's just joking here. Sir Lance will be the first quarterback ever to throw 5,000 yards and 1,000 yards rushing with 0 interceptions, a MVP and Super Bowl MVP. Yo, I love it. Let's do it. Like, hey, I'm here for it. Juvie said, as long as we can make the playoffs and he has a positive TD to INT ratio, which is key, we good. Facts. Legs Gaming just commented saying close to 4,000 yards between the top 3 receiver. So basically he's saying close to 4,000 between Kittle, I'm assuming between Brandon Aiyuk and Deebo Samuel. That's what he meant by top 3 receiver. Jay, let's hear it, dog.
So I think that the first thing that we should do in terms of correlating what we believe is going to happen with Trey Lance is correlating to RG3's first season in Washington. And for a lot of people that are confused, Trey Lance doesn't make this team more pass happy. They're still going to run the ball a ton, and I would argue more because Trey Lance is going to run the ball. They just make them more dangerous down the field when they take those shots. So a lot of people want to correlate things to, well, in Atlanta, Matt Ryan won an MVP. Yeah, go look up those numbers. They were 16th in pass attempts. The only difference was Matt Ryan was very good at throwing the ball down the field, and Julio Jones is one of the best receivers of all time. So it's not like all of a sudden Kyle Shanahan is just going to go ahead, run, or throw. He's still going to do his thing running, okay? So let's correlate it to RG3's initial season, which was Offensive Rookie of the Year, and it was by a mile. Let's do attempts first. Mm-hmm. He had 393 attempts. I would say that, and that's in 15 games. That's in 15 games. Now, if Trey Lance plays 17, he's going to clear that. He'll clear that. So let's just say it goes to 400 or so. The yards that he passed for in that first season was 3,200. I would say that if Trey Lance plays 17 games, he clears that easily, right? We can put that at 3,500, 3,800. In that range right there, right? Like I'm being very, very general right here. So I can give myself a foot out the door when I said, hey, I said that, but I also said this and that. That's what I'm doing, right? I'm turning myself into a national analyst right now before your eyes, guys. You guys.
There you go, Rappaport.
Rappaport.
Jason
okay.
Rappaport.
Love to see it.
Completion percentage, 65.6% for RG3. I would say that probably Trey Lance is going to be under that. And that doesn't mean that that's going to be a worse season or anything like that. 65 is a very good amount. And for the weapons that this team has, the way that they want to do things, I still could see Trey Lance still ending up in the 60 to 62 range right there. And again, 60%, that means 6 out of 10. We'll take that every day. And we would have taken that with Jimmy Garoppolo every single day. Okay? 20 touchdowns. Trey's going to clear that. Passing. So I've got Trey at least in the 28 to 30 range in this one. And this is me being overly optimistic here. Okay. Here's the part that I have a problem saying he's going to do better than. Robert Griffin threw 5 interceptions in 15 games. He led the league in interception percentage, 1.3%. 1.3%.
Wow.
Trey's not going to do that. That's not going to happen. No. It's just not. And look, that's not because Trey isn't good like that. I think that you need to give Robert Griffin his flowers a little bit, especially in that first year. That man came out of Baylor and balled immediately, and he was a baller at Baylor. And that's no slight at Trey. I think that a lot of people, when they see the end of RG3's career, they're just adept to just getting rid of that first year and everything. And I think we all can attribute what happened to him later on to, obviously, he blew his knee out. The next year, this is what's funny. Kyle Shanahan left the year that he hurt his knee, right? And then, they went to the playoffs, they lost to Seattle. He left. The next year, they almost set 60 more passes his way, and his completion percentage dropped 5%. So it wasn't exactly a strength to continue to pass more. I guess you guys know where I'm going here with this Trey Lance stuff. Okay. One thing that he led the entire league in was yards per attempt, 8.1. And again, does that mean that Robert Griffin was just tossing that thing down the field? No, everything is still yards after the catch. And Jimmy Garoppolo has more yards per attempt than Patrick Mahomes. But you all know and can contextualize why. That's Kyle Shanahan, okay? His QBR was 69.4. His quarterback rate was 102.4. Basically, what I'm saying is it feels like RG3 season is the baseline for what this team can do, because we can all certainly agree that this team is much more talented than that Washington Redskins team. Or, sorry, Washington football team. Sorry, please don't hear me say that again. Okay, now, rushing. Here's where you want to get to it. 120 rushes, 815 yards. I expect Trey Lance to have 800 yards at least, right? I don't know if he's going to rush for 120 yards, but he'll have 800 at least. 7 touchdowns is a little bit hard to gauge. Depends on how they do things. I'm going to say under 7. I'll say under 7. Here's another thing that RG3 in that first year led the league in: yards per rush, yards per attempt, 6.8 per. So it's tough, right? RG3 is the baseline, but there's still a world where that baseline can be what Trey Lance starts with, while knowing that the ceiling is far greater because of his coach, because of the talent that's around him. So I don't even know if I gave real answers. I just think that the way you should correlate everything in terms of the baseline for him should be RG3's best season in this league, which was the first one, especially when you consider that I believe this team is going to run a lot more pistol, put Trey in advantageous spots, and that's exactly what they did. Basically, Kyle Shanahan grifted his offense to him and moved it towards RG3, didn't change anything necessarily. He just did things that he knew he was comfortable with. So like RG3's first season is like the baseline, and he won Offensive Rookie of the Year. So yeah, I mean, it's hard for us to not be optimistic, but there are still certain contextualized things that you need to look at when you're looking at these numbers in terms of talent, where Kyle is as a coach now, and all of those things. So I don't even know if I gave a really good answer, but I just want to say that like the first year is the year that you should really be looking at in terms of Trey Lance.
Hey, yo, I'll say this. You talked about Robert Griffin quite a bit there, and I loved watching him play out of Baylor. And then his first year with Washington, I'm an avid beat the hell out of the Dallas Cowboys. So his rookie year there against the Dallas Cowboys, the performance he put on, I believe it was week 17. It was win and get in type of situation there for Washington as well as for the Cowboys. And one of those memories that'll stick with me is just him just busting it down the sideline and for a huge running play there. But I'll say this with Trey Lance. In terms of running, I do think that Kyle Shanahan is going to have quite a bit of design runs. Looking at his 2 starts this season, he averaged 60 yards per game, 120 total. I don't think it will necessarily. I think it's going to be closer to what we saw against the Houston Texans, where it's limited runs, limited designs. Because that first game against the Arizona Cardinals, it was 89 rushing yards, and then against the Houston Texans, it was only 31. And I think that's going to be the go-to where Trey ends up as far as yards per game as a runner. I think it's going to be more so around that 30 mark. And then when it comes into passing, it's Shanahan. Like the 49ers have their most success as far as win-loss ratio when they're only passing for like 210 yards a game. They don't have success in win-loss ratio when they're throwing for 300. Obviously with Jimmy, that wasn't much, but it was Nick Mullins was throwing quite a bit for a lot of yards. That's why he was up there with some of the guys in their first 16 starts for most passing yards in an NFL career. It's because when they're throwing a lot, they're usually behind games, and that's not how Shanahan likes to do things. And based off this roster, based off of the talent Trey Lance has, I do think he's probably going to be at a 210 yards per game ratio. And if you're looking at 210, quick math here while I pull out my calculator, 210 times 17, I think he'll be at 3,500, maybe 3,600 passing yards on the season. That's with averaging 210 yards a game. On the dot, it's 3,570. So that's why I say give or take somewhere around there. Passing touchdowns, we've seen Lamar Jackson to where you don't necessarily need a high volume of pass attempts to end up in the high 20s or to end up in the 30s for passing touchdowns on the season, as long as you are efficient in your red zone opportunities. And I think that's Trey Lance, because what's the one common denominator that Trey Lance and Lamar Jackson have is they're excellent at being dual threat quarterbacks. So when you're in the red zone, it's a lot tougher. You don't know if it's going to be, if he's going to hand it off. You don't know if he's going to pull and run, or you don't know if it's a freaking boot on a play action. You don't know that. And it's a lot harder to contain him in the red zone opposed to containing a Jimmy Garoppolo in the red zone. Usually it's so much harder. Understand this. It's so much harder for Jimmy Garoppolo to be efficient inside the 10 as a passer opposed to Trey Lance, because Jimmy Garoppolo holds on to the ball. You don't need to contain him. You don't. If he busts outside the tackles and he decides to run, you're probably going to cover the ground it takes to tackle him before he gets in the end zone. So at that point, you need coverage sacks from your secondary. With Trey Lance back out there at quarterback inside the 10-yard line, cool, you could get the coverage sack, but Trey Lance ain't, he ain't pulling a trailer when he's running. He's going to get that ball in the end zone. I feel like that Arizona game is such an anomaly that he didn't, get in, that he didn't just push his way in the end zone and he actually got stopped this short of the goal line. I think that play is such an anomaly that Trey, he's going to learn from it. It's his first start. He's going to put a little more of his non-throwing shoulder into that, or, figure out some type of different move, because we've seen Cam Newton get, they're similar running styles, both big bodies, not necessarily the finesse that Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray has. They're like a Josh Allen. He's had success with it, and he's not a finesse runner either. So talking about running touchdowns, I think we'll probably see 5 from Trey. I feel like that's probably the floor in terms of rushing touchdowns for Trey. And like I said, you don't need the passing attempts to lead the league in passing touchdowns. And I'm not going to shy away from him. I think he probably gets 28. And that'll be more than what Jimmy has ever done in a given season. And like I said, I think that's just because of their play styles, not because he's, year one starter, then he's just going to just dust whatever Jimmy did. No, it's because the play styles are different. And then I'm going to say he's a year one starter based off what I've seen, based off what Jason's seen in practice and training camp. Sometimes the ball does end up a little high of his target, and I expect still a lot of routes being ran through the middle of the field. We're going to see a lot of, quick slants. We're going to see a lot of dig routes. We're going to see a lot of crosses, and all you just need to be inaccurate by this much, and that's an interception. When you're throwing the ball to the middle of the field, that's where all the traffic is. So with guys like Aaron Rodgers tends to throw outside the numbers quite a bit. And that's why he's like up in the league for least interceptions every single year. How many back shoulder fades do we see from Aaron Rodgers in a single game? So I think that's probably going to be the difference with Trey Lance. It's just because of the plays and the design of routes that are going to be ran. You're one tip pass away, one drop pass away. We've seen it when Jimmy Garoppolo was at quarterback. Not every single interception was Jimmy's fault. Not every single one. You're a tip pass away. You're just this high off your target to an interception when you're running these routes in the middle of the field. And in terms, but 2-1, you take that any day when you have 2-1 TD to INT ratio. What's up, Kitty? So it's and then in terms of completion percentage, I think Jay's right. I think we're probably going to see that 60 to 61 range completion percentage. And to me, I don't necessarily look at that as a bad thing, considering we had Jimmy Garoppolo at 69 the past, few years when he started.
It's a nice
because
number.
what nice. Because what did we complain about Jimmy about? These easy completions, these short yard throws, not attacks downfield. What do we expect that we're going to see from Trey? We're going to see balls thrown downfield. And it's not like those balls are 80, 70 completion percent ratio as you are throwing a post, or not a post, a dig or a slant. So it's not going to be those high completions. So he's still going to get his tunnel screens and everything of that fathom. He's still going to get those. Patrick Mahomes still gets those. Patrick Mahomes he's in the bottom 10 for air yards. So Trey Lance is still going to get those. But we're going to see a lot more attacks downfield. And we obviously know it. With that, it's like being a baseball hitter. If you're going to have more failure than success if you're throwing the ball 20 yards downfield. It is what it is. So if Trey Lance is out there completing 45% past 20 yards, oh my God, we're celebrating he's the best downfield thrower in the game. But that 45% is not going to maintain a 69% completion percentage. So if he's in that 61, 60 range with his attempts downfield, fuck yeah. Give me that. All day, every day, give me that. I did want to get to more of the comments here.
We got a super chat. We got a big super chat. Let's take care of that. A big super chat.
Come on.
The coach, thank you so much, bro, man. Appreciate you, man. That is so generous, bro. You know that you didn't have to do that, but I appreciate you so much, man. I see you tapped in on Brad's show. You're very knowledgeable, man. We have the most knowledgeable fans, the most generous fans, and I just want to say thank you, man. That means a lot, man. It's very generous. It's very big of you as well. So the coach says Niners accounted for 26 touchdowns through the air out of their total 48. So my math isn't so good. They threw for the more touchdowns they're running. Not bad for a run-first team. Trey had 5 and Deebo had 1. That, Deebo did throw a touchdown. You guys remember that. So that leaves 16 touchdown improvement. Trey has to match Jimmy G production. I'd be happy with 750 yards for 3.2K passing, 20 touchdowns, 60 completion. I think that is a very realistic way to look at it. And again, stats are not going to dictate what is a successful season for Trey Lance. If his numbers fall short in some way of Robert Griffin or Jimmy Garoppolo, but this team wins games and they're much more explosive, there may be a game, and this defense has a chance to be better than it was last year. Look, stats, this is fun to talk about, but stats are not going to tell the story. Again, Jimmy Garoppolo leads the league in yards per attempt. Why is that? Is that because he throws the ball downfield? No. Contextualize that with the yards after the catch. It's fun to talk about stats, but stats are not going to dictate, in my opinion, what is a successful season for Trey Lance as long as we see the steps going forward. I'll let you guys get ahead from there.
It's not off topic per se, but I feel like the stats that hold the most weight in any given sport is basketball.
Okay.
I know there is still some analytics in there. It's 3-point percentage from catch and shoot compared to just overall 3 percentage or one dribble shot 3-point. Like, yeah, now saying that, it's just like I don't know if that's true anymore. But
I was gonna say baseball.
I was gonna say baseball. Baseball's one-on-one.
That's like an individual. Yeah. Very individual sport.
And the thing is,
but you still have the same thing with baseball to where you hit the ball and it has a 80% based off the distance and location that
or barrel
it should be 80% of a hit, but that one time it's not a hit, and based off a launch angle, things like that. Like you said, barrel percentage,
shifts are going away too. But shifts are going away too. So once the shifts go away, batting averages are going to rise again. And this is baseball, but yeah.
Let's stay on topic. It's just, that's on me. I kind of, I love
You're
sports.
Good.
I love sports.
You're good. We all do. That's why we're here.
So it's just 750 yards. Like, yo, you know how much Kyle Shanahan would love that? 750. See, at first, where I was wrong, and I'll admit that I was wrong. I didn't necessarily think Kyle Shanahan would want as much as a running quarterback as Trey Lance. But I think Kyle Shanahan has adjusted a little bit with that. Now, I don't think he wanted a statue quarterback. The reason why I say I don't think he wanted that is because when you look at his father had Steve Young and John Elway. Both guys are mobile. Both guys that can run. Hell, we know about Steve Young running through the Minnesota Vikings defense, and that's a play that we still celebrate as 49er fans. And we know about John Elway in the Super Bowl doing a freaking helicopter rushing touchdown. So I don't think that freaking Kyle Shanahan wanted a Peyton Manning back there or anything, or Tom Brady back there. Although Tom Brady does have 1,000 rushing yards for his long career. But 750, that's a lot, man. That's a lot. Let me calculate the average. I do think it's possible though. Don't get me wrong. Like Lamar Jackson's running for 1,200 yards. I don't think we're gonna see that from Trey. But 750 is definitely manageable. Let me see the math on that. Divided by 17 games. That's only 44 yards a game.
Yeah, that'll happen. I think that happens easily. That's why, like, when I was looking at
a game.
When I was looking at RG3 numbers, I think that he can easily top that, especially when you consider RG3 played 15 games. Trey's going to have 2. I think that you can easily top that. Go to Steph, and then there's 2 other super chats that we need to get to. Like
I'm going to get to it right now.
Yeah,
thank you again, Coach. Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, when you consider the amount of games that, we're playing, well, now, not us, but, the players are playing now, that makes a huge difference, I think, in I was just looking at Colin Kaepernick's like rushing stats just because I was curious. The most he had in one season was 639. But when you think about Lamar Jackson and what he's doing, I mean, Trey Lance could fall anywhere in between. I think either one of those 2 numbers. I think that's definitely in the realm of possibility, especially given the fact, as I mentioned, we're talking about 16 games actually played now. So. I think that definitely bodes well for Lance.
And you could also make the debate. Yeah, that's what Colin Kaepernick topped out at it. But what if he had a Kyle Shanahan designing his plays? Now, when he had Jim Harbaugh back in the start of his career, they also had Frank Gore. That was still prime Frank Gore, if you will. So it's if he's still prime Frank Gore, why would you say put your quarterback in a situation when you have this Hall of Famer that you can hand the ball off to? But then Cap ended up with Chip Kelly, who was just, not him. And then he had obviously Tom Sula. I don't remember who the OC was for whatever reason that
Cheap Chris.
year. Oh, come on. Come on. There's a reason why I didn't remember. Come on. Okay. So Travis said, who's tackling Deebo when he catches 30 and 40 yards downfield? First, Travis, appreciate you for the donation. I promise I'll get something that's more celebratory for these donations for you guys, because this, I know it's not it. Like, y'all need more than that.
We need like a soundboard.
Maybe we'll do shots or something,
Oh no! Oh no! People are just gonna start sending dollars so they can see us stumble all over ourselves after getting so many shots. I've already had enough Casamigos.
That's one way to.
No the Casamigos? Oh, yo! Come on, send one virtual. But yeah, that's been my whole thing with Deebo. That's been my whole thing with Deebo. It's just like you see what he's doing behind the line of scrimmage or at the line of scrimmage in terms of, run after contact. Now you do that instead of getting Deebo on defensive linemen, edge rushers, and back in the, we think about those guys as big. No way they're catching Deebo. Screw that. Edge rushers are running freaking 4.4 now. 4.5 now. Of course they could catch Deebo. Like, what are we talking about? So it's like you get those away from Deebo, get linebackers away from Deebo, and you put Deebo against corners and safeties. How many of those guys are tackling him without help? If they're not, doing a shoestring tackle or, just getting lucky. How many are legit tackling Deebo? We've seen it. We've seen it plenty of times with Deebo, whether it was against the Detroit Lions week 1, where Deebo caught the ball downfield from a duck by Jimmy. But guess what? The secondary couldn't tackle Deebo, ran it in for a touchdown. We've seen it against plenty of other teams where Deebo has caught these passes downfield. We've seen him run slants, which is he's putting himself out there against the secondary, running slants, catching in the middle of the field, and then housing it from there. We've seen that plenty of times from Deebo. So if Deebo gets his new contract, or once he gets his new contract, and part of that is like, yo, don't play me at running back. You want to give me tunnel screens, that's fine. Don't put me at running back. I don't think that devalues him as a player, as some of my non-49er people, fans like to tell me. That doesn't devalue him as a player. He was going to be top 3 in receiving yards on the season without playing running back. And this is partially why. You get him downfield, 10 yards downfield, minimum. It's going to be so hard to tackle him. Look how much the Rams struggled to tackle Deebo. I can't remember if it was week 18 or if it was the NFC Championship game where Deebo ran and caught Jalen Ramsey just basically looking behind the line of scrimmage. Jimmy hit Deebo. Deebo caught it and then picked up like another 20, 25 yards downfield. Like, that's the player he is. So this is why I pay Deebo, because I think he's an ace wide receiver 1 in what he does. Nobody even comes close. The closest guy to him is freaking Cordero Patterson. Like, what are we talking about?
And just look what Deebo did in the playoff game against the Cowboys. That one carry, that the touchdown that he had. I think about that play so much because
you were there.
I was about to say you were there.
You were there.
I was trying not to say.
I think about that play so much because I was in Dallas talking shit to the Cowboy fan. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
I was trying not to say that, but because I was there. But no, because he pretty much cleared the entire defense. He was way behind our line to begin with, and then he's able to get in front of all of the Cowboys defenders. Like, that's just when he has a ball in his hands, he plays with unreal speed. He might not be the fastest guy in terms of his 40 time or things like that, but when he has a ball in his hands, like there's a lot of people who can't catch up to Deebo, So I think, when you're putting him at an advantage, when he just has to clear, the secondary, then of course you're looking at a bunch of touchdowns. You're looking at some big plays. And so like you said, Leo, like that's the thing about Deebo Samuel, makes him so special. The yards after the catch ability, he's just so dangerous with the ball in his hands. And this is something that I'm looking forward to a lot. I think, despite him having what we could assume would be less carries this season, way less carries, I'm still very excited for what he can do in this offense, especially with Trey Lance, another threat, as a runner. So yeah, I think the sky's the limit still for Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, and
I
I think
prefer
that
Deebo the receiver. Go ahead.
I think that Deebo's going to still get his carries, but they're just going to be much more efficient, and that's what it's about. It's not about wearing Deebo down. It's about putting him in advantageous spots and allowing him to dominate. Going back to that Deebo carry, inside the NFL, they had him mic'd up, and literally, this is what gives me goosebumps to this day. Not only the fact that he did that, but he on the mic, Kyle, let's go. And he walked up to everybody and he dapped everybody. Let's put it in the box. They gave the man that is the equivalent of Babe Ruth doing that and pointing and then taking that thing and hitting it out of the park. That's what Deebo Samuel is, and it's not about getting Deebo Samuel more. It's about putting him in advantageous, efficient spots. Leo, we got a bunch of super chats coming in. Let's make sure that we get to all of them. There's one more, and then there's one more after this too, and then we got more topics to get to. So let's keep it going.
Hey, I love how you correlated that to make it and turn it into the New York Yankees.
Oh, my bad. The best franchise that's ever been in baseball. Sorry, man. I mean, even non-Yankee fans know about the called shot. That's why it's the called shot. You don't got to be a Yankee fan to appreciate that. You know how hard it is to hit a baseball? I used to play baseball. It's really hard. Imagine being able to look at the pitcher, say, "I'm taking you over here," and then smoke that next pitch while he's motivated and take it over the wall. Like, you know how hard that is? That is literally like me shooting my shot at Rihanna and her answering, "Hey." Like, that's how hard that is.
Yeah, so I coached my daughter's softball team, and this was last season. So this girl was like 7 years old, got to the batter's box, and went like this. A 7-year-old girl in San Diego, California is doing that. So, as you said, non-Yankee fan. No, she didn't hit it for nothing. But as you guys know,
Oh.
Hey, what's up, buddy? Oh my God, that's the best. That's the best end of the story. It was just like she called a shot. Did she hit it? Nah, she didn't hit it.
Hey, y'all asked. I wasn't gonna say that, but y'all asked.
Oh my God! All right, go. Keep going.
Okay, so hey, look at the super chat though. Like, not even to answer, and ask a question, not even to drop their own prediction. It's just tremendous trio. Hashtag Zaddy. Yo, appreciate you. This is awesome. I'll get Leo to clap for you.
Yeah. Oh, put the hat on. Oh.
Yeah.
You know the vibe.
Hey, coach. My father from the Bronx, and he never really told me anything that would really like put you out of the house, but it was either root for the Yankees or find a way to feed yourself. So yeah, yesterday my father, and we took my father, my wife, myself. We took my daughter to her first Yankee game. My father was overjoyed through the roof. It was amazing. Obviously, the Yankees didn't win, but yeah, man, Yankees are more important in that household than the 49ers. The 49ers is my thing more than anything that it is my dad. Talk to him, Leo. Little Leo.
Ooh, he's spitting right now.
He's spitting facts.
He's making some great points over there.
So let's get to the super chat from Bruce. Do you guys see us winning the division this year? Whoever wants to go first.
You got it, Steph.
No, I don't, and that's okay. Like, I think that's okay. I see them being more of a wild card team this year. I mean, to me, I still think the Rams have like a stronghold of this division as of right now. Just because, Matthew Stafford, that offense, they're going to continue to be really good and win a lot of games. So I think there are going to be some bumps in the road potentially for Trey Lance, which again is not a bad thing. That's just like what we can expect. And again, wild card is not a bad thing. This team was a wild card team last year. We see what they did with that. So, as long as you get into the dance, anything is possible after that. So, yeah, I say wild card.
Yeah, the 49ers are going to win this division. I don't want to hear that. No. Steph is right. Steph is right. Look, Steph is right. Steph is right. Look, I think when you look at the team that just won the Super Bowl, props to them, everything. But at this point, look, there is a world where the 49ers can get this done. Matthew Stafford's already a little bit banged up. Can't really throw until training camp. A lot of people are not talking about that. His arm is a little bit hurt. And when he got injured in the middle of the year last year, the team struggled for a while. The 49ers have a soft landing to start the season. Chicago Bears, that's a win. Home openers, Seattle Seahawks, depends on who's starting. I don't even care if it's Jimmy Garoppolo, Drew Lock, Geno Smith. That's a win. I think their first real test is going to be that third week against the Denver Broncos, but they have a good shot. Like, the LA Rams could start the season 0-1. They face the Buffalo Bills, and a lot of people have the Buffalo Bills right in the Super Bowl. So there's a way for the 49ers to start 2-0, get a jump on everybody, and go through their bumps and bruises and still win this division. Not trying to contradict Steph in any way. But you know what? I'm feeling positive today. I'm feeling real positive. I'm feeling good. I'm tired of all the negative stuff about people that don't know anything about this team, that were never at any sort of training camp, that are just Emmanuel Acho. Just shut the hell up at this point. Every single person that is saying something about this team that has no idea what's going on with this team, has never been to a practice, has no correlation to what people are saying around this team, has got me with this 49ers against the world type stuff, because you're all saying wrong things. No, not one person has said anything that is negative about the 49ers that I can say, you know what, that's fair. There's nothing fair about Trey Lance needs to sit another year. Jimmy's still this guy. He's still going to be there next year. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You have no idea what you're talking about, and I'm tired of it. Go for it, Leo.
You know what, Jay? You know what? Rams ain't winning the damn division, man. Come on. I'm over here looking at their schedule right now. Hell nah. They're not winning the division. One, Sean McVay's still on honeymoon, right? Aaron Donald cashed out. Good for him. He cashed out. Yeah, he's probably I was gonna say he's probably one of those cats that's like still gonna be the guy.
He's still that guy.
Even though
Aaron's that guy.
He 10% mentally there, but yeah, he's still better than everybody else on the field. Like, he's one of those guys. I get that.
Yeah.
But it's like, come on, the Bills is their non-division schedule, and 49ers got the Dolphins. Like, Dolphins.
Well, they gotta open.
They're good on paper, but it's like
they gotta open against the Bills too. And the Bills don't act like the Bills are just happy with the way their season ended. Josh Allen played the perfect game, and they lost.
I said no, my boy jumped.
But they played the perfect game, and they lost to the Chiefs, unfortunately, because their defense wouldn't cover the middle of the field, and they had the kick, and then they didn't get the ball back. Josh Allen was much better than Patrick Mahomes in that game. And the Rams are going to have a hell of a time trying to stop that team that is super motivated to right their wrongs last year. Let's mark this one down. I got the Bills beating the Rams in week 1 at home in front of everybody, because the Bills are like that. Stop playing with the Bills, bro.
Yep. And they also got the Cowboys, which I'm number one Cowboy hater. My whole life I've been one. I was born in 93, so I was born in the middle of it. My father raised me and said, yo, if you're going to be a Cowboy fan, or if you're going to not hate the Cowboys, like, you're out of my house. Like, find somewhere to live. So he made sure I hate. No, he didn't actually say that. But, you know how the vibes are, basically, anytime the Cowboys are on TV. They got the Cowboys as well. Like, look at that opening schedule. Opening 5 games. Bills, tough. Falcons, yeah, they're going to walk them.
That's a win. They'll be 1-1.
At Arizona, it's going to be tough because it's early in the year.
They own the Cardinals, though.
But early in the year.
They own the Cardinals. Without DeAndre Hopkins, they own the Cardinals, bro. I'm going to get let's just be gracious. They'll be 2-1.
Yeah.
They'll be 2-1.
Niners.
They're 2-2.
Cowboys.
They beat the Cowboys. Cowboys stink. Sorry.
Hell no. Cowboys. Cowboys are taking over that stadium. That game's in LA.
Dude, my hate for the Cowboys will not ever make me say that the Rams. I say
Rams starting 2-3.
All right. What I got them at 3. I got them at 3-2.
I got them at 2-3, and it's just I don't think that they're going to win the division because obviously the schedule continues to get tough after that. They have the Chiefs like the Niners do. They got the Saints like the Niners. They got the Raiders. They're all similar opponents. Who's not is the Packers. Like, they got to play the Packers in Lambeau in December. Like, come on.
They lost there last year.
they're not winning the West. They're not, and I'm trying to not be biased at all. They're not winning the West. They're at Tampa, opposed to hosting them at Tampa. So it's just I don't see them winning the West. I just don't. Y'all marketing pro could just save this clip. That's fine. I just don't see them winning the West. I don't. I really don't. Remember, they were so look it.
Don't talk to him, man. Don't talk to him because when he was talking all that crazy shit about week 18 and when I was owning him all week and then the 49ers won, he went completely ghost. Then all of a sudden at the NFC Championship, he's popping back up. Stop paying attention to that guy, man. He don't matter, bro. He's trying to get under your skin, bro. He don't know shit about shit.
He don't get under my skin at all. But what I'm saying is just he was I guess Romelia Sports Reports in here too. But
he's fair. He's fair. He'll pull up after the game's over and say, hey, listen, this is where we messed up, things like that. Like that dude popped all that lip in week 18. I told his scrub ass that his team was going to fold. They folded, and then he didn't show up after that, man. So get his ass out of here. Stop paying attention to him.
I'm not. Leave me alone. But to get back on topic here, it's just look at the Rams got absolutely little brothered by the 49ers for 6 straight games, right? They went 0-6 for 6 straight. Yet it took another 49ers collapse to even send them to the Super Bowl. And we knew they was winning the Super Bowl. Once they went up to the Bengals, we knew they were winning the Super Bowl. There was no ifs, ands, and buts about it. But it's like, come on, it literally took a collapse for them to even all that motivation in the world, blowing a 17-0 lead, all that motivation in the world to go ahead and come back against the 49ers in that 7th game. Now, I get if, ands, and buts. I don't care about it because the result, give me the result. That's fine. But I think the 49ers, I think at worst they split. At worst they split this year.
Stafford's hurt already. Follow your own team. Follow your own team. Stafford's hurt already. Follow your own team, guys. He can't throw until training camp. Follow your own team, guys. Please. I implore you to watch your own team. There's one more super chat, Leo. Go to it.
I'm just saying I don't find this team winning the division. It's people don't realize how tough it is to go ahead and win divisions over and over and to even go to Super Bowls back to back. Like it's incredibly difficult. I don't see that by the Rams. Look at Leo's vibing. He gets it.
Stafford already is hurt. He got hurt, and he had to have surgery. And forget it. Just go.
You know the thing is, like, I want to dislike the Rams, but to me they're irrelevant to even have a feeling for. Like, I don't run into Rams fans. I don't ever. I don't know any Rams fans. So it's like as much as I want to dislike them, they're just gonna probably stay irrelevant unless. People just come out of nowhere.
We got the only 3 Rams fans right here in the comments. This is the only ones.
Gammon, appreciate you. You're always in the chat, Gammon, straight up. Like, you're
Mod
always
Squad
in the chat. PSA, Mod Squad. Happy Friday to the Spicy Faithful family. Hey, yo, Jay, if people want to pull up to Rams 49ers, since we're on that topic, if people want to pull up, where should they go to get their tickets?
Oh, they should go to TickPick and use the promo code SRO. TickPick is the only place that you can get no fees, anything like that. That's exactly where we got our tickets before the NFC Championship. TickPick is your place to get your tickets. Use the promo code capital SRO. That was good, actually. That felt like a good read right there.
It did. How many times you practice that?
Not really, and not too many. I mean, sometimes people got it, they don't got it. Sometimes you just got it.
Okay. Let's see here. I had something else on slate that we wanted to talk about.
Ooh. The tight end discussion.
Ooh, let's talk about it.
Start with Steph. I'll be right back. Go.
Steph, you're the one who brought it up. So you can go first.
I did. It was actually crazy. So when I saw all of this discussion unfolding on the timeline to begin with, I was like, why are we even talking about this, first of all? Because, they both played for the 49ers. They're both great players.
Both 85.
People just arguing over this for no reason. But, we're here to have opinions, right? So it was crazy because at first I was like, I definitely Vernon Davis. Like Vernon Davis definitely has an edge. But then, like preparing for this episode, like I was actually like diving into their stats and things like that. And I don't know. I think as of right now, I would say George Kittle. But I will also say there are so many variables in how each person would like rate a player, and it's all subjective, right? So to different people, different things matter a little bit more. If you value health and availability the most, you might say Vernon Davis. If you value touchdowns in a single season the most, like you might say Kittle. Who was our quarterback? What offense were they in? Like all of these things people weigh differently, and so you're going to get different answers all across the board. So that's one reason why like I really don't care what people think about like Kittle versus Vernon Davis, because again, it's like they both played for the 49ers. They're both great players. But I'll look at some of their, stats just really quickly. So Kittle, he only has 5 years under his belt right now, right? So 2017 to present. He had Hoyer, CJ Beathard, Garoppolo, Nick Mullins, and sure, you can count Trey Lance as his quarterback as well for 2 games. So 59 games played, 335 receptions. That's like 5 receptions per game average. 4,489 yards receiving, 20 touchdowns, 72.4 catch rate percentage. And then Vernon Davis, on the other hand, he played 10 years with the Niners. So I'm going to just look at that. 2006 to 2014, he had Alex Smith, Sean Hill, Troy Smith, JT O'Sullivan, and Colin Kaepernick as his quarterbacks. Could we just say that, like, can we call the quarterback discussion for those two like a wash? Like,
Hold up, I can't hear you.
But I'm like not. I wouldn't argue over them.
Yeah. That's hard.
Okay. I would probably say.
I don't know.
Vernon
Davis gets the edge because of Smith and Kaepernick.
But keep in mind, I mean, we know this. Alex Smith did not play his best years on the 49ers. Like most of his time with the 49ers, he wasn't good until towards the end of his time with the 49ers. So that's how I look at it. And then obviously, like Alex Smith at his best is better than Jimmy Garoppolo. And I mean, obviously Colin Kaepernick better than, anyone that, Kittle has had. But I don't know. I kind of feel like those are even enough where I'm not bringing that into the discussion really much for me personally. Okay, so Vernon Davis, he played in 136 games. And I want to say this. He only missed 3 games in his career with San Francisco. Within 10 seasons, he only missed 3 games.
Wait, Steph. He's soft, though.
Who said he was soft? That's
you know. Keep going.
So this is the stuff that's like crazy to me. So like again, like if you are someone who values health and availability the most, like Vernon Davis, he's your guy. So 441 receptions, 5,640 yards, 55 touchdowns, 61.5% catch percentage. And then from 2009 to 2013, he never had a season under 548 yards. Now let's compare their best years really quick. Vernon Davis, I would say his best year was probably 2009. He was targeted 128 times. He had 78 receptions, 965 yards, 13 touchdowns. Again, if touchdowns are your thing, you are leaning Vernon Davis. He actually had 2 seasons where he had 13 touchdowns, 2009 and 2013. Kittle, on the other hand, his best season, I would say, is 2018. He was targeted 136 times, 88 receptions, 1,377 yards. If yards are your kind of thing, then George Kittle is your guy. But again, like this is what I'm saying. Like everyone values different stats, differently. I would say right now, Vernon Davis, he has a larger sample size. He has 5 years more than Kittle as a 49er, right? He has I think we have more memories with Vernon Davis, which I think does favor him. And Davis, as we know, was like a physical freak. Again, he was only hurt, or he only missed 3 games in 10 seasons. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. And he was a first round pick, obviously. Again, there are so many variables in like deciding this that it's nothing to fight over. Like everyone's gonna have different thoughts on this. And so I'm gonna pull a Stephen A. Smith. I just want to tell you right now, we don't care. What who you favor in this situation. It doesn't matter. All right, go ahead, Jason.
All right. You know what? First of all, I want to say, Steph, that was incredibly articulated and the best way to talk sense to 49er fans who tend to go overboard one way or the other. If I could be the overboard 49er fan, as I usually am, let me start here. My issue is this. If you favor George Kittle over Vernon Davis, I don't have an issue with that. My issue becomes when it is, well, it's Kittle without any chance that it's Davis and he clears Vernon Davis. What on earth are y'all talking about? And it's disrespectful and recency bias, and I'm tired of people saying, well, when you say recency bias is condescending, it's true. It's absolutely recency bias. Let me explain why. Okay? He missed 3 games. Incredible. Durability doesn't matter, though. But hey, George Kittle has really nice hair, and he blocks a bunch. But you know what? He's so much a better blocker than Vernon Davis. No, he's not. Did y'all even watch them play? Vernon Davis was from a run-first offense, just like George Kittle during his best years with Jim Harbaugh. So he had to run block his ass off. He run blocks much better than you're giving him credit for. Is George Kittle a better run blocker? Sure. But is it this giant canyon? Will you stop it? You're making it sound like George Kittle is this guy, and then Vernon Davis is a turnstile. That's not true, and you didn't watch them play, or you're being disingenuous. Okay. Now, let's talk about something. How many of these guys, of both of them, have one of the 3 catches in the 49ers history? Not George Kittle. Vernon Davis. George Kittle won a game against the New Orleans Saints in the regular season. Vernon Davis won a playoff game against the New Orleans Saints in the playoffs. Give me the dude who's big money when you need him to be big money, man. One last thing that really pisses me off. Vernon Davis was soft. Cam Chancellor destroyed his career. Yeah, you're completely forgetting the fact that after Cam Chancellor laid that hit on Vernon Davis, he scored 13 more touchdowns the next year. Oh, but his career was over. You almost are running with narratives that, let me just say, you're not watching the team. You don't remember anything. If you prefer George Kittle over Vernon Davis, I don't blame you. You might be right. But to make it seem like you're comparing George Kittle to Tyler Higbee is wild to me, is insane behavior. Vernon Davis was a baller. Vernon Davis balled in the games that you needed him the most. George Kittle has one postseason touchdown. One. And he just got it in the NFC Championship against the Los Angeles Rams. Vernon Davis was the guy who scored touchdowns in the NFC Championship game that Kyle Williams lost. Vernon Davis is the catch 3. Vernon Davis was the guy that when you needed a big catch, and he was the guy that everybody was looking to that was going to be stopped, he still did it. So if you prefer George Kittle, go for it. But stop disrespecting Vernon Davis. I'm tired of you saying he's soft. He has missed 3 games. That's not true. I'm tired of you saying that Cam Chancellor took his soul, 13 touchdowns the next year. That's not true. I'm tired of you saying that he can't block at all at run blocking. That's not true. So what I get upset about is, if you prefer one or the other, fine. But use the right way to describe it, because it almost sounds like you didn't watch either of these guys when they played. There's my rant. Vernon Davis was a baller. And I will not allow you to disrespect him because you prefer George Kittle, and that is why it's recency bias. There's my rant.
I respect your opinion, Jay.
I respect yours too, Steph. And you are absolutely
I'm not gonna argue with you on Twitter. Don't worry.
No, it's okay. I would never argue with you on Twitter, Steph. Come on, man.
No, I know. I'm just talking about other people.
No, it's cool. I was condescending, no. I was condescending, no. Like with that, whatever. Christ, man.
Wait, is that a real thing? Did I miss something?
No, you did miss it. It's fine. We'll talk about it later.
We'll talk later.
We'll talk about it. Okay, so I think it's very I love both players. Like as a fan, I love watching both players. So like that's hard. That's so hard. I would say so the tiebreaker for me, just as a fan perspective, not as an analyst, as a fan perspective, who would I rather have a beer with? I think I'm going Vernon Davis. I think I'm going Vernon Davis.
Oh,
you thought I was going to say George Kittle?
I thought you were going to say Kittle because I would like to have a beer with Jimmy Garoppolo, but that don't mean I want him to start over Trey Lance.
That's why I said I'm just taking my analyst hat on this one. I'm putting on a straight fan hat here. You guys broke it down enough. I don't need to be an analyst myself in this situation. So I'm going to say, who would I rather have a beer with? It'll be Vernon Davis. Just because I feel like we can have better dialogue. George Kittle, it seems like we would have like a frat boy type of conversation or something. It's fun.
You would have to chug beers against him. Like he's gonna be like, another beer, bring it now, chug
and then,
it.
Like that, crush it on his forehead.
Crush it, and then like finish it, and just like man, that's fun, but you got to be ready for that.
I just feel like I could have a better conversation with Vernon Davis. But
you just want to know what Mike Singletary said to him.
Off the record.
Hey, how about Mike Singletary just becoming a high school coach and then going winless? How about that?
He wanted winners.
Should have looked in the
no,
mirror.
I just love how I said, I'm gonna go with the person I'd rather have a beer with, and then Jay got so upset because he thought I was gonna say George.
I thought you were gonna say Kittle, man. I think everybody wants to have a beer. I would
have said Kittle. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'll take a beer with both of them. But
my thing is, it's just like Kittle's gonna make you like chug mad beers in a row. One thing that Matthew Stafford is elite at, and number one, is chugging beers. I'll give him that. He is much better than Aaron Rodgers at chugging beers. Sorry, I just wanted to point that out for the Rams fans arguing in our little section.
I feel like they had a little group chat and they messaged each other and said, "Yo, come join this."
Yeah, I was like, they felt their ears burning or something. Like as soon as we mentioned the Rams, like we got, and they're still here.
Ramelia Sports Report, he's usually tapped into all our streams. Marketing Pro is whatever. Like,
Ram Station, I've never seen.
Yeah, no. But you know what, though? Look, again, I will give credit where it's due. Ramelia Sports Report is a very fair guy. Like, he may be biased towards his team, and that's fine. We are too. That's fine. Marketing Pro, we don't listen to him because he's just trying to piss you off or whatever. Who cares? And I don't know this new guy. So this isn't anything new, right? Like, we had the Cowboys all in our chats all through that week or whatever, and then they completely disappeared and went ghost. So like it's nothing new at this point. Hey man,
but we have another donation here from Niner by Nature. Spicy J. You seen Trey Lance in camp last year. Tell these Rams fans what you've seen, fam. Thank you guys for the great content.
Yeah, I mean, y'all are in trouble. The kid's going to take strides from where he was. Like, that wasn't a quarterback competition. If you think that Jimmy beat him out, then you're basically telling me that you have no pulse on what happened, and you weren't at any of these practices. So, yeah, it's on the way. It's on the way. Here's the problem, and this is why I think everybody wants Trey Lance to fail. Because if Trey Lance is any good, not only the Rams, but the rest of y'all are cooked. The league does not need Kyle Shanahan and this roster to have a dynamic quarterback because it will be ball game for so many of you. So if you want to say, well, I think Trey's a bust, it's because you're on your knees praying to Santa Claus and Superman. Please don't let this man be good because we know what it means for us. Your team, after Matthew Stafford goes, where's your quarterback going to come from? You don't get a high pick anymore, and your whole thing is F them picks. I don't think you got a first-round pick until 2028. You're going to trade for another over-the-hill quarterback or older quarterback? There's so many people in this league. You are not just hoping because you want to confirm your priors. You know what will happen if Trey is even a little good. And if he's a little bit better than Jimmy Garoppolo, let alone what the ceiling could be. Y'all are shaking in y'all boots. And I could tell, because if my team won a Super Bowl, I'll tell you where I wouldn't be. In another team's comment section saying, whoa, y'all suck. Y'all are insecure, and it's showing because you're scared. And that's cool, man. I get it. I completely get it, bro.
They're projecting.
We got another. I gotta go soon too, man. I can't just keep owning these Rams fans. Let's go.
Gammon, once again, appreciate you chiming in once again. Said he tried to talk football with Rams fans, but couldn't even find their own stadium. It's nice to know that the organization invested in bots for you to. Oh. Hey, a Rams fan in there did say that Kroenke is, he got money like that, which obviously
all right.
If you own a football team. Did he get bots too?
One more question, Ramilia Sports Report. And look, I have a lot of respect for you, because I do think you know what you're talking about. I don't give a shit who's the owner of the team. That don't play on the field. Who cares? Imagine trying to win with ownership like the Yorks and Kyle. Your boy is Kyle's understudy. He's the guy who wants to be Kyle, that finally beat them for once. Imagine talking crazy about the guy that birthed your coach. That's dumb. And who gives a shit about ownership? That's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. Owners don't play. Players play, and coaches coach. Why would you talk about the owners? Again, projecting, scared, trying to find any reason to why you're worried about that. Imagine saying, well, you're owned by the Yorks. Jed York's not lining up at quarterback, little bro. Like, what are you talking about, man? Like, what's wrong with these people, bro?
The thing is with that, it's like, okay, if you're going to bring up Jed York and Kyle Shanahan, don't be 1-6 in the last 7 matchups. That's fair, right? If you're going to bring up those two, don't be 1-6 in the last 7 matchups. Like, it should be reversed, 6-1. If you're talking like that, it should be 6-1. That's weird. That's just weird.
Hey, man. I'm nervous now because Jed York is not going to be able to run the ball. I wonder what Jed York's run per carry is going to be, yards per carry going to be this year, man. Because I think it's a good training camp battle. Jed York versus Elijah Mitchell and Ty Davis Price and Jeff Wilson, man. I just don't know if Jed York is going to have enough to get it done, man. Like, that's what I'm worried about more than anything. That's what I'm worried about at training camp, not Trey Lance.
This is what I will say. If you want to bring up ownership, that's fine, but bring it up when the owners try to overtake the team. We talked about Jed York when he let Harbaugh walk and kept what's his name in Jacksonville, Balky. We could talk about the ownership then, but what has Jed York been since then? I'm gonna just be in the background. I'm gonna flip the bill, bring me revenue and a winning team. And he has not stepped foot into the decision process. Like, don't talk about the owners, man. It makes no sense. If they're not making decisions like the Dallas Cowboys, where you have Jerry Jones and Stevie Jones making decisions, that's one thing. The second thing is Jed York's not making a decision with Kyle Shanahan in there. Like, don't be that dumb. Don't be that dumb.
Someone said Denise York has crazy air yards.
Hey, Denise York was the one who said, all right, little bro, son, you wanted to hire Chip Kelly and Jim Tomsula? Step back. I'm picking Kyle Shanahan, and you're going to get out of the whole way. So Denise York has done more for this organization than a lot of people. And it's again, man, I don't know, man. It just... Now I need to be worried about the 49ers because Jed York is the owner. Like, that's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard in my life. We are not even talking ball anymore. We're just making things up. But whatever, man.
Yeah, that's true. I want to talk ball. Ball. So that's why we'll do this again next week so that we can talk more ball. We just wanted to hop in. We wanted to hop in the comment section with our other 49er fans and talk crap. At the end of the day, we're still fans, no matter if we're on video with the microphone talking 49ers. At the end, we're still fans. The team's success is parallel to my success.
Quick fun fact: Kyle is 8-27. Let's change that from without Jimmy to with plumbers at quarterback. Like Jesus, can you just like stop being so dumb?
Hey,
Like we like yeah.
Jay,
No,
Jay.
no, wait. No, hold on. No shit. Kyle is 8-27 with Brian Hoyer, CJ Beathard, Nick Mullins. My God, man, the guy who comes and fixes my toilet is just as good as those three guys. How stupid can y'all be, man? Ridiculous excuses. Dude, let's get out of here. I want to go, man. I want to enjoy the rest of my night, bro. Let's get out of here, man.
Hey, I want to know what you got against plumbers, though. I got a brother-in-law and my brother.
I wouldn't start them at quarterback to win me games. What the hell? That's my problem.
Yeah,
they can fix my toilet. They can fix my toilet, but they can't start quarterback game and then expect me to win. Like, what on earth are y'all talking about, dog? Like,
you fair. I wouldn't let my brother be my quarterback at the beach either. So no, you good.
27 without Jimmy. Christ Almighty, man. Oh my God.
Hey, if you guys haven't yet, for whatever weird reason, haven't hit the like button, don't be weird. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Even if you're a Rams fan, I don't care. Subscribe. As well as once the video gets posted after we end it here, comment as well, because that's also going to help out the algorithm. In your comment, you could leave Rams suck. Nobody cares about the Rams, or don't even mention the Rams. Give us Trey's projections for what you think he's going to do this season. So go ahead and do that. Subscribe to Jason's channel, as well as Steph's channel. Steph's is 49ers or 49K, as well as my channel, Leo Luna. So we'll talk with you again next week, hopefully sooner than Friday. Until then, go Niners.